In this video, we're going to cover 7224, represent real-world or mathematical situations using equations and inequalities involving variables and positive and negative rational numbers. So positive and negative fractions, just positive and negative numbers, decimals, and we're going to use variables, so letters, and setting up equations or inequalities. So like x is less than 7 could be a possibility. So let's take a look at some examples here. So two cyclists rode from Memphis, Tennessee to Indianapolis, Indiana. After cycling 115 miles the first day, so I'm going to kind of keep track of that here, 115 miles the first day, Katie rode a shorter distance each of the next 2 days. Benny rode the same shorter distance each day for 4 days. So part A says write an equation to represent this situation. So if I look at what Katie did, she rode 115 miles plus she rode 2 days at a shorter distance. So now I need to basically come up with a variable. I'll just use x. So 115 miles plus 2 times x, meaning x is the amount of miles that she rode for these 2 days. Now, it says Benny rode the same shorter distance each day for 4 days. So they both rode the same distance overall, so we're going to do 4 times x. Okay, because it says right here that he rode the same shorter distance. So that tells us that x is the same. So he rode 4 days at that distance. So this would be the equation that we would use to represent the situation. It doesn't say to solve it, it just says write an equation to represent it. So part B says how many miles did Katie ride the second and third days? Sure, explain your work. So basically what that means, we have to solve for x. So basically that's what Katie rode the second and third days. It's also what Benny rode for all 4 days. So I'll go ahead and switch colors here. Let's subtract 2x from both sides, because we have to get our variable expression on one side while we have our constant, which is 115, on the other. So I'm going to bring 115 down, and if I subtract 2x, this is going to be 0, so I won't be left with anything over there. I'll bring my equal sign down, and then if I have 4x and I'm taking 2x away, I'll be left with 2x. And then at this point, I need to divide by the coefficient. Remember, the coefficient is the number right next to the letter, our variable, so divide both sides by 2. And then we'll be left with x is equal to, and 115 divided by 2 is 57.5 miles. So down here we can write 57.5 miles, and that's how many miles she rode on the second and third days. Now it doesn't ask us to add the second and third day together. It just asks us to find out how many miles she rode on the second and the third day, and this is actually how many miles Benny rode each day. So 57.5 miles. Okay, so let's do some of these with multiple choice. So when we have multiple choice options, we can kind of check to see if certain things work. We have different options to try, but it's always good to read through the problem and come up with an equation yourself and then compare with what they have. So Jason put $125 down payment on a motorbike and is making monthly payments of $70. So this monthly payment is going to kind of keep happening over and over again, whereas the $125 is we're putting that down right away. So when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking $125 plus 70 times m. Okay, and the reason why it's 70 times m because we're making this payment each month or per month. Now, when I think each or per, I'm thinking multiplication. So which equation can be used to determine how many months it will take to pay off the motorbike? So this first one just has the $70 monthly payment, but it doesn't include our down payment at all. So I want to include that one. Now, here we have $125, but we have a negative 70. Okay, now we're not getting paid $70. We're going to actually pay or owe $70, so we don't want that to be negative. Again, we have a subtraction symbol in there, so that's kind of what takes care of that one. D actually represents or looks just like the one we have, except for it has this equals Y. And here in this situation, Y would mean how much the motorbike costs altogether, and that would help us to solve for M. So we actually created an expression, and then to add this Y at the end, that makes it into an equation or a function. Maggie put together 450 party favors for the spring dance. If 170 party favors were donated and the rest were purchased, which equation could you use to find how many party favors Maggie had to buy? All right, so we have 450 party favors total. So I really like how A starts and how C starts, with 450 being our total. Now, what we need to then do is we would have 170 that were donated. So if I have the ones I purchased plus 170, that should equal my total 450. So let's see if we have that example down here. So this one equals 170. This one equals P. This one here says 450 equals purchased plus 170. So I really like choice C. And this one here says 170 minus the amount we purchased, and that one just doesn't make sense for us. Number 4, during the drought, the water level in the river fell 16 feet below sea level. The drought ended with a series of heavy rainstorms, and the water level rose 42 feet above sea level. So which equation can be used to find the total feet the water level rose? All right, so again, this one here is 16 feet below sea level, so we're thinking that's going to be like a negative 16. Here it says, and the water level rose 42 feet above sea level, so that's a positive 42. So we're kind of looking in here for these types of numbers. This one says plus 16, so I don't really like that option. Again, this one says plus 16. This one says negative 42. So this one here shows me that I have a negative 16 and a positive 42. So I'm liking choice A. Is that during the drought, the water level in the river fell 16 feet below sea level. The drought ended with a series of heavy rainstorms, and the water level rose 42 feet above sea level. So which equation can be used to find the total feet the water level rose? So if we start with that amount there, and we subtract the 16 that it dropped, that gives us the 42 that it rose up to at the beginning. So if we solve for x, it'll tell us how much it actually rose. All right, so Jesse saved $24 toward the purchase of a $150 CD player. Which equation best describes how much more he needs to save? So he saved $24 towards the purchase of a $150 CD player. So if I said 24 plus X, that would equal my $150 CD player. This is just one way to think about this. If I have $24 plus this amount, it would give me $150 total. As I'm looking through this, I see that I don't have this as my option. But some things that I do have here, D shows me that if I subtract 24 on both sides, I'm going to be left with X equals 150 minus 24, which is what D shows me right here. And that is actually setting it up to solve for this amount. Now, there's a lot of different ways to think about this and look at it. It's just a matter of being able to go through and figuring out which one represents this situation the best. Number 6. 2/3 of the 7th grade class went on a field trip. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep track of that number. In all, 90 students went on the trip. So 2/3 of the 7th grade class. So remember, of tells us to multiply. So 2/3 of, I'm going to say, the class. And it says in all 90 students went on the trip, so that's got to equal 90. So which equation can be used to find how many students are in the 7th grade class So I kind of created here as I went. It says 2/3 of tells us to multiply the 7th grade class. So 2/3 times C equals the 90. So B looks like to be our choice here. Again, noticing these keywords like of that we've worked with before are going to be helpful. Margot has $235.75 saved for a guitar. She is paid $7.85 per hour at her job. So this is how much she has saved. She's getting paid $7.85 per hour. Remember, per means to multiply, so I'm going to get that ready right away. $7.85 times H. She puts half of her paycheck in her savings account. The guitar costs $512.75. So which inequality can be used to find the number of hours Margot has to work to buy the guitar? All right, so we need to earn at least $512.75. So it is okay to earn more than $512.85. So I'm going to say greater than or equal to $512.75. Okay, so you don't want it to be less than. The reason why I'm saying greater than or equal to is because I have to earn at least $512.75. I can't earn less than. It is okay to earn exactly that much, and it's okay to earn more than that much. So I notice here I can look through some of these, and this one says 512 is greater than, 512 is greater than. This one says less than and less than. So those two aren't going to be possible choices for me. Now, when I look through the last two choices, they both have 785H, so I like both of those choices. Now what I need to do is take a look at the other part. Margot has $235.75 saved for a guitar. So I should have this amount here saved for the guitar. So if I could add 235.75, this one should be showing me that. It says she puts half of her paycheck in her savings account. So I don't see anything in any part of the problem here that represents that half. So I would say that A is my best choice here that that is showing me that. Now here it has divided by 2. I think that's just trying to throw us off with the half of her paycheck part, because I don't see anything in the problem that tells me that I should take 5 and divide it by 2. And also the 235.75, I don't know why I would put the 5 in there like that. So that just, it doesn't really make sense because I want to have that amount in there. All right, which can be solved by 2.5a equals 60. So 2.5a is equal to 60. What I would have to do is divide by the coefficient, 2.5, on both sides. And then a would be equal to 60 divided by 2.5, which is 24. So that's how I would solve it, but we're looking for the situation that can be represented there. So Theo has 60 pounds of cereal with which to make 2.5-pound boxes. How many boxes of cereal can Theo put together? So if I do 2.5 times A, which could stand for the number of boxes, that equals 60. So this one sounds like it could be right. It says a copier prints 60 pages in 1 hour. How many pages can it print in 2.5 hours? What I would do with that one is I would say 2.5 times 60. So I don't think that that one's set up right for that situation to be working with that problem. C, a racing car travels 2.5 miles in 60 seconds. So what speed, so at what speed is the car traveling? So if a racing car travels, usually when we talk about speed, it's distance over time, so miles per second. So I would take 2.5 and divide it by 60 rather than doing this problem up here. So it says at what speed is the car traveling. This one maybe more looks like this. Okay, so I don't like C. D, after dishing out 2.5 pounds of nuts from a bin, 60 pounds of nuts remain. So after, how many pounds did the bin originally contain? So for this problem, I would say that 2.5 plus 60, because I dish out 2.5 pounds, I still have 60 left, and so it would look something like this. So again, I'm going to go with that first choice of A. It is helpful to kind of look through them all, though, to kind of eliminate some of your choices. All right, so that brings us to the end of our examples.